Morning, everyone. So today let us continue with EC2. So as per this compute concept, here in the dashboard, we can see how many instances we have launched. In that, how many are in running status. The number of instances what you might have created might be 10, for example. But the number of instances which are running right now, the count you can see here. Similar to that, we have number of key pairs. There is a topic like security group, snapshot, load balancer, elastic IP. That information we can check from here itself. Okay. This is something like the count of the resources that you have created on this EC2 dashboard. And we can see the service health. As of now, in this particular region, AWS is saying that there are no issues. That is called as service health. If you want to see the entire AWS, then you can go for AWS Health Dashboard. There you can see the information of your AWS services. For example, if there is some issue which I've shown you, someone has reported in the WhatsApp group as well. There is one particular open issue and all. That is not related to our account. It is for global. So if there is some issue with your account in that particular specific region, they will they will open an issue ticket here, which might be in a running status, or they might be trying to resolve it, or they're planning to do some particular task. You can see schedule changes, but we don't do anything. We have not raised it, or we are not troubleshooting it. AWS is just informing us. In this particular area, we have some particular issue, we are trying to resolve it. So that you will get to know what are the known issues in AWS in that particular region. Now here, you can see the availability zone names. These are zone IDs and these are the zone names. Region name is US East 1, for example, for Virginia. But what about the availability zone names? US East 1, the region name, and then followed by alphabetical order A, B, C, D, E, F. In this Virginia region, we have totally 6 availability zones. But minimum AWS will try to maintain in every region minimum 3. Maximum we have seen till today only 6, not more than that. Now, next point, just a second. Yeah. So yesterday we have seen, or I guess I have asked one question, which I've shown you one particular method. If your key pair has been lost, what you're supposed to do? We just seen one option. That works well when you have a public IP address assigned to your instance. Okay. And we discussed that particular public IP address is a dynamic. It's not a static one. Static in the sense fixed, dynamic in the sense which will get changed. Okay. Now, I hope I asked you one question to find out another alternative. If your instance is not having public IP, how we are going to access your instance? Okay, take your time. Okay, I'm not expecting an answer by today itself. You can take some time and let me know. Okay, when I ask again about that particular question. Now, the next one is, let us talk about launch template. Okay, instance types. If you want to see, instance type, right? The size of the resource that you want to allocate to your EC2 instance. That you can see by launching instance, or if you want to see the list of instance types without launching the instance, then on the left side panel under the instances, we can see instance types. Now, this is so important for us to decide and to know which one we have to use. Initially, we may go with the minimal resources. Based on our testing and the deployment, what we have done, and based on the load that we have generated, and we have understood that, okay, this is the amount of CPU and this is the amount of memory that is needed for your application to run on that particular platform. Nothing but virtual machine. Then you will decide, okay, which one we have to use. But do remember, whenever we want, we can change it. But there are a lot of factors that you need to understand. Okay. One of them is, for example, I say, when I'm using this particular T2 series, for example, this is one family. Under T2 family, we have, let us say, T2 nano is a minimal one. Then we have T2 small, T2 medium. Sorry, we have T2 micro. After nano, we have micro, and then small, medium, large, X large, and 2X large. Okay. By looking at the name, also we can understand how it is segregated. Under T2 family, we have these many types. Minimal one is nano, which will come with 1 core CPU and 0.5 memory, means half of 1 GB. And you can see it will support 64-bit and 32-bit as well. Okay. And then we can see these particular details: low to moderate network performance, on demand. On demand, I will tell you what is meant by that today. And you can see Windows pricing. If you are using for Linux operating system or for Windows operating system, the prices might vary. Okay, that also we have to verify. Now, this is basic information, what you are seeing on the screen right now. If you want a detailed explanation of it, you can just see on the bottom: details, compute, okay, networking, storage, accelerators, pricings, and all. Now, these particular points like storage, networking, you will understand in the upcoming sessions. Now, if I talk about them also, you will not understand. And major thing what you have to look at it is every instance type that you are using may not be suitable for every availability zone. Some availability zones, which is nothing but data center, may not support that particular instance type. Where you can check that under networking, we can see availability zones. This one supports in all the availability zones. You can see A, B, C, D, E, F. But some may not support. For example, I have seen somewhere it will not support. Maybe I cannot show you straight away, but there are some particular examples where we cannot use it. Yeah, here you can see this C3 large. It supports only in 1A, not in 1B. Okay, 1C, 1D, 1E. So it is not supporting in 1B and 1F. So we have to verify this as well. Okay, so these are like minute points, but important for us. Okay, and these are supporting with storage type as SSD. And we have to see whether what kind of, see, first you have to note down what is your requirement. According to that, you have to search your instance type. Initially in the learning phase, we have to find out. Okay, or else you can see instance finder. There are a lot of things which are added actually. You can see earlier it is not available. For example, let us say I'm not able to decide. I want my AWS to give some suggestions based on my inputs, what I passed. At least some suggestions, right? For example, I'm planning to deploy web app, nothing but web server. Are you planning to deploy a data warehouse, deep learning interface, deep learning training, Kubernetes, machine learning, message queue, what you're planning to deploy? For example, let us say web server, web hosting it is, or application hosting. I'm hosting an application. Okay, let us say, or let us say web hosting. And then we have what is the performance? The performance right now, it is like high performance or price based model. Let us say this is price based model. Okay, and then CPU manufacturer, I just want to use Intel. Okay, we have Graviton, Mac, AMD. Graviton is something like from Amazon. Okay, it supports only in Amazon AWS. Let us say Intel. Advanced parameters we can see here. Number of CPUs. Let us say I want add the number of CPUs. What I'm looking minimum is let us say 4 core. Maximum I'm looking at 8 core. I will add one more parameter. For example, memory. Add minimum. I'm looking at let us say 8 GB RAM. Maximum 16. And another parameter you can just see instance storage, networking performance. You can add these parameters as well. And then search. They're giving you the explanation as well. The advantages in the learning curve for us, we can read this explanation, we'll get to know, okay, for these kind of scenarios, we have to go for these kind of families. This is something like AI. It will just read your inputs. It will just under what are the data is there. According to that, it will format and it will give you the output. So that you will get to know, okay, for my scenario, for this particular situation, I have to go for this one. And what is the pricing difference between each of them? They will show all this particular data here. If you're okay with this, or if you want to try one more time, try again. And if you want to modify the details or recommendations, you can just go for view recommended instances family details. Or if you want to close it, close just. Okay, this is something like a finder. Okay. Next one is, let us try to understand instance template. Before that, if I go back to instances again, let me select launch instance. The major challenge that we see here is I need to pass the inputs. If I need to launch an instance, I have to remember what are the parameters we have to select, and then I have to launch my instance. Sometimes I might give all the parameters in a proper way, or sometimes I might forget, or intentionally or unintentionally, I might miss some particular parameters to get enabled or disabled. This could happen. And that too, we are doing this particular manual task every time. I don't want like this. I want like a template. Template is nothing but a like skeleton. You will be using it and you might modify it or you use as it is. Okay. So in a terminology of this particular domain, we call it as template. Template will have certain parameters written. Okay, I will be using that template so that I don't need to worry about what parameters have to pass. But if you want, you can modify before launching it while using a template, or we can use as it is the same parameters. That is called as template. Now in AWS, we have something called launch template. Okay. So for example, I'll just open a paint. I'm trying to create one template with some parameters. For example, let's say instance template. Okay. For this instance template, I'm looking at, for example, let's say T2 small, and then I'm looking at Ubuntu server 24.04. These are my details, which I'm noting down. And this is AMI, that is instance type. Key pair, I'll be using default key pair. And then security group, default. Network, I'll be using default, or I can decide by launching instance. Okay. Storage, I will go for, let us say, 15 GB. Okay. These are my requirements. Now, whenever I'm trying to launch an instance, I just need to pass these values. Instead of that, I will store this particular data in a template form, so that if I want to launch an instance with the same specifications, I will just pull this particular template. By using this template, we can launch an EC2 instance. EC2 instance. Okay, let us see how we can do this. First of all, we will try to create an instance template, and then we will launch an EC2 instance. Let's see. It is not a programming, just parameters. That's all. Launch template. Create launch template. Let me give some value, a template name. For the one what I'm creating, I just want to allocate some name. And let us say this is a template right now. I will give a name like web app demo. Template description. Nginx web server will be deployed on Ubuntu server 24.04 LTS latest. from this template. That's it. I've written a little bit description, which is not mandate, optional. Then we have auto scaling guide. We are not using that option right now since we don't know what is auto scaling. We'll discuss that later. But do remember, if you learn about auto scaling, I can enable this. Okay. Just disable that right now. Based on that, also the parameters will get changed in the bottom. You can see here, these are getting changed. Now template tags. Tags are nothing but if you want to pass some information, metadata. For the resources, what you're creating on AWS, you take any resource, IAM, users, groups, policies, okay, and then now instances. All these are resources. For the one what you're creating, you can just add some metadata. For what reason you're creating this particular, let us say, resource. Is it for production or is it for development or is it for dev? You can add that particular value, but you cannot pass that as a name, right? I don't want to give that name. Instead of that, we can add that as a label, but here it is called as tag. Okay, for example, in any cloud you take, it is called as tag. In a tag, we have to give key and value. Understand this concept is like variable and the value. I will write here environment. This is for development. I'll just write here developed. And I want to add another tag for time being. Let us say web server. What we are planning to deploy, Nginx. Yes, that's it. So what resource you are trying to create from this particular template, for every resource, it will add this particular tag. Okay. Next one. Maximum we can add only 50 tags for each and every resource. Whatever the topics we have discussed till now, in AWS, for every resource or in the future, we can add maximum up to 50 tags for a single resource. You can see, as of now, we have utilized 2. Rest is nothing but 48. Next one is source template. You can optionally specify a source template if you would like to create a template from another existing template. By looking at this particular sentence, we can understand what is it all about. Let us say you already have some template. From that, I want to create a new template with few modifications. Then you can go for this option, source template. We have something called source template where I can draw that. I will just draw here. Source template. So from the source template, we can create our own custom template. It's possible. I'll not draw this. Or I can use this one. Yeah. Okay. So from the source template, I can create my own template. That is all about this option. As of now, I don't have any templates, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. You can ignore this value if you don't want to do like that. Next one, launch template contents. Now here we go. The actual values that we have to select for creating our template. So what is this? First, it is asking you AMI. I'll go for quick start. Or there is an option called recents. In that recent, it is saying you do not include in launch template. What does it mean? When you are using this particular template to launch an instance, if you want to pass a value from there, then do not select from here. That is the option is all about. Recently launched is nothing but if you select that, it will let you know what are the recent one that you have used. But always it is Amazon Linux. But that is not my requirement. I'll go for quick start. There I will be selecting Ubuntu and the latest one always. Free trial eligible. After that instance type, I'll be using T2 series. As of now, I will go for T2 micro. That is more than enough. Though I have written here T2 small. Okay, let me go for T2 small. The same parameters. Done. Next one, Additional cost applies for AMIs with pre-installed software, as we discussed. Next, key pair. I'll be using the key pair what I've created in the previous session, demo key. What does it mean? Any instance that you launch from this template, these parameters will be the same, identical. We call it as identical instances. Now, subnet and all these parameters, I'm not going to select from here. I'll be using an existing security group, which we have created yesterday. You can see either we can go for default. Instead of that, I will use this one because it's already allowed with 22 port number. That is the reason why. And then I'm not deciding which network I have to use. Obviously, it will select while launching the instance. I'm not worried too much about here. Or else you can select that. It's up to you. Now, let us say network advanced configuration. This is not necessary. Storage. Now, in this particular storage part, let us go to volumes. By default, it is showing you 8 GB, as we've seen in the previous sessions as well. I want to go with 15 GB. All these parameters you can ignore. When I talk about EBS, you will understand what is this. At the time, you will understand what is snapshot for a volume. Now remember, snapshot will have a data. So this snapshot will have operating system data. From this particular operating system snapshot, we are creating a new device right now, which will have a pre-installed operating system. I'll talk about that in detail later. For now, this is just a simple concept. So from this snapshot, we are trying to create a volume so that that volume will have a pre-installed operating system. That's the reason why it is taking only few seconds to launch an instance. Okay. Any cloud you take, hardly it will take seconds to launch an instance or a virtual machine. Next, resource tags. If you want to allocate any tags for the resource, you can do that. If you want to pull it from the instance level, you can say resource types. We are pulling it for the instances, volumes. Do you want to apply the tags what you're passing here for volumes, snapshots, network interface and all? You can select that. Okay, it is up to you. And then advanced details, we are not talking about this right away because we have not discussed few points. That is the reason why. Okay, I'm just ignoring this particular points. And then now this is the template. With these parameters, I'm trying to create a template. So whenever you create your first template, that is called as version 1. Every template will have a version. I'll talk about that. Let us say version 1. I'm just writing like this. I'll talk about this particular value. First, let me try to create a template with these parameters. Now create. It is not launching your instance. What happened? Oh, I have to give the tags. Let me try to give the same tags. Whatever I have given for the template, I want to give the same one to this resources as well. I'm just giving web server. That's it. Do you want to see this one? Do you want to give it for any other resource? No. I want to give this one only for instances. Do you want to give this particular tag to any other resource? Just select them. This one, it's common for all other resources which I'm planning to create from template. This is only for instances. You can segregate that like in that way as well. This is a flexibility what AWS is giving us. Now create. You can see the template got created. If I go back to the launch templates, you can see default version is 1. Always it will be started with 1. What is a version? I will tell you. Right now it is version 1. Tomorrow my requirements got changed. Instead of using T2 small, for the template, I want to use T2 large. Or let us say, I want to change the operating system or I want to change the size of the storage. For existing instance, we have already created with this particular data. Now I have seen few modifications. So what I will do, I will modify the existing template. What I will try to do is, I will modify the existing template. I'm not going to create a new one. That's the first thing you have to understand. We are not going to create a new template. We are going to modify the existing template. For example, this template I will modify with the parameter like T2 small, right? I will try to give T2 large or T2 medium. That's it. That is the only change which I want to do. Now, this particular instance template will have a version like 2. Instance. Now, this will be stored as version 2. It doesn't mean that it will delete the old version and create a new one. Both the versions will be there. Why? Because tomorrow, if you want to launch an instance by using these parameters, we can use that. So from this particular version, I can launch instances if I want, according to my requirement. Or I want to go with the latest one, you can use this particular version as well. That's it. It is as simple as it. Have you understood anything from this diagram or any confusion part? I'll show you practically.
The number of instance also will be included in the templates.
No. Number of
No?
instances. See, for example, for the point what we are asking, right? You have to pass here. For example, if I go to edit, number of instances cannot be specified here. You can see there is no such value. From this particular template, how many instances you want to launch, that you can decide while launching your instance. Here we are just passing the values. By using these values, I want to launch my instance. That's
Mhm.
it.
Okay.
How many instances you will try to launch, it is up to you while you're launching instance. Any other question? Okay. Now I will try to launch one instance from this particular template, which is version 1. And that is a default one. You can see latest version is 1. Default version is also 1 for the initial state. Now, how will you launch an instance? Either you can go here and you can select the option from drop down list and you can see launch instance from template. If you don't want to use a template, you'll go with the first option. But today I want to launch an instance from template. I can use from here as well, or else I can go to launch templates dashboard. I can see here actions, select this one, actions, and here you can see here launch instance from template. Either of these places, we can use this option called launch instance from template. Okay, let me just select this, select the template. This is what I'm talking about. Number of instances that you want to launch. Okay. And then for this particular template, what I've selected to launch an instance, this is the default version. You can see I have only one because this we are doing for the first time under this template. Now, when I've selected this particular version, you can see the values which are auto-populated. This is the Ubuntu instance type. You can see T2 small, key pair, security group got selected, storage. You can see 15 GB, and you can see the tags. If you are okay to this, then you can say launch template. No, though I'm using some values from the template, for one of them, for this particular requirement, I want to modify the value. I can do that. Okay, instead of using a launch wizard 1, let us say I want to use launch wizard 2. I can just modify that value. So we have this particular flexibility as well. The source is nothing but template data, but if you want to override that data, we can do that while launching your instance. Is that clear? Okay, let me launch an instance. Now, if I go back to instances, the instance is up and running. You can see just now it is T2 small. We are done with this. Now, let us say I want to modify the existing template. First, select the template, go to actions, and here we can see modify template, or else you can go to actions from here. We can check modify template as well. Modifying a template, what does it mean? You are creating a new version. For every changes that you do on an existing template, it is going to get stored with the label called as version. And that version number will be an incremental order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many changes you try to do means how many times you try to do the changes in your template, those many versions will get added in an incremental order. Now, let us modify the template, or we can do it from here as well. So we have these three places. It's up to you which one you choose. Actions, modify template. So these details, let it be same. If you want to modify the description for this particular version, you can modify it. Changed. I'm just writing this description for this particular new version of the template. I just want to modify it to medium. That's it. This is the only change which I want to do. And create template version. We are not creating a new template. For our existing template, we are going to update with the new version. That version will have the latest changes. Latest version is 2, but you can see default version is still 1. It has been not changed to the latest one. What does it mean? If I try to launch an instance, sorry, I have to use launch instance from template. Select the template. By default, it will show the version as 1. If you want, you can change it to 2. That's fine. But by default, it is showing you as a version number as 1. If you want this particular 2 as a default while using this particular template, what you need to do? Just go to the template. You can see actions here. You can see set default version. Set default version. I just want to set to 2. Right now, the default one is 1. Let me change it to 2. If you want to know the CLI command for this particular activity, it's a CLI command for Linux operating system. On a Linux operating system, if you are planning to run AWS CLI command, this is what we are supposed to do. Now, set. If I try to refresh, you can see the default as 2, which got changed. What does it mean? If I go back to launch instances from template and select the template, by default, it will show you version as 2. That's it. This is so important when you are using automation script. My automation has to use always the latest version of the template. This is what we are supposed to do. We have to change it in the script itself with the default latest one. I want the latest version as a default version in those conditions. But still, if the version is still available, I can launch my instance by using that old version as well. It's possible to do. For example, let me try to launch a new instance from this particular template with the default version as 2 and try to launch. Now what will happen? This instance will have an instance type as T2 medium. From this particular template version 2, it is medium. From the template version 1, it is small. Basic difference. Yep. Yeah, someone is asking some questions.
So how do you change the version, right? I mean, like by default, it's coming to, right? But if, for example, if I want like
No. See. Just now I've shown, right? For the template, I've shown how to change the value. By default, it is not showing as 2. I have changed it just now. Hope you have seen it. If I go to actions, I've selected something called set default version.
Okay, got it.
Again, if I want to change it to 1, you can change it.
Okay. Because I got confused with the latest version and also the default version.
Latest version is how many times. See, whenever you modify the template, it obviously it will add a new version number. That doesn't mean that that is a default version for you to launch an instance from this template. If you want your instance to be launched from the latest template, you have to set that as a default one, or else you have to manually select. Either you want automatically to get populated, or you want to manually select. Based on that, you have to decide what should be the default version.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, one thing. Is there any limit for the latest version? Like we mentioned for tag, we have
Maximum 5.
Okay.
What I have read from the document is maximum we can store 5. When you're trying to store for the 6th one, first one will get deleted. But now we have 2 versions. Let me check. Maybe I might be wrong. Sorry.
No, what we do, when you say like max versions, we can keep 5, right? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. Doesn't have any limit. Okay. Okay. Let me try to check this. I might be wrong. Okay, so that's the reason. Version numbers, yeah. Launch template version numbers are the numbers of the order. Okay, that's fine. You cannot specify the version number. Anyway, you cannot specify the numbers by ourselves. We cannot pass the numbers. It's automatically generated by AWS. Quota limit. Services quota. Let me check for the. Not showing EC2. Okay. Where is that EC2? Let me search for template. Launch template versions. Maximum applicable. Default quota limit is 10,000. Applied account level quota value is 10,000. For your account, it is 10,000, but default is also 10,000. How many templates we can create per account? 5,000. Yep.
So just a thought, okay, because it's a free tier, that's the reason we have a limitation here, the quota, 10,000.
No, if that is the case, that's what. To answer your point, if it is a free trial version, you have to check this particular data, what is given to you. But according to AWS, it is saying AWS default quota limit value is this one. So they have given us the full quota. And they will show you adjustability in the sense what, not adjustable in the sense what, you cannot increase it. This is a fixed value. You cannot modify from this particular AWS default quota value. Sometimes AWS will give the default quota value as, let us say, 5 or 10. It is adjustable, but you have to contact the sales team.
So you mean to say that we can have like 5,000 templates?
Yes, 5,000 launch templates in your account under free tier as well. This is what it is given to you.
Okay.
This is what the AWS actually has, the quota limit. So both are matching, right? What does it mean? Full access, full quota was given to you. Got it? What I'm trying to say? It is under AWS services, this concept. Service
my
quota.
question. See, the launch template version, total 10,000 is there here, right? So
yes.
Total 10,000 is there. But for you, the launch template, only 5,000 it's showing. So remaining 5,000, for you, it's not showing, right?
See, you're comparing. See, what is version, what is template? Both are different, right?
Well, both are different, but in the sense, template is the version of this one, right? So, for example, we have like 5,000 templates.
I'll tell you, version is part of a template. Okay, versions are part of template. One template can have multiple versions. Is that true or not?
one template can multiple versions, you see. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the reason this value will be more when you compare with the template. You can create a template like 5,000 maximum. Let us say you
Okay.
have already created 5,000. Each template might be having 5 twos are 10, right? Means
Mm,
maximum you can use only 2 versions for each template.
okay.
For example, you have created only 1,000 templates. In each template, we can use how many? 10 versions?
Yeah.
That's how it is calculated. It all depends. But maximum, how many templates you create, it is up to you. But the maximum versions is only 10,000. You cannot go beyond the limit. Is it still confusing?
No. It's not confusing. And the other way around. Okay, I'll ask you this question. Okay, for example, I have like 3 environments. Okay, so the dev stage I'm using the silver. Okay, whereas like 2 I'm just using it. In that case, I have prepared a template. So if I use the if I use the dev template, that dev template we have different what is the account ID, so that we can't able to use it for this stage, right? So
Yes. Yes, true.
okay, so then I have to recreate
The
one.
template what you have created is to your account.
Okay.
You cannot you cannot use it in another account unless you have shared it.
Okay, share we can do.
Can we share this particular template? Is a question.
Yes,
Where is that option?
we don't have any option, but only thing is we have what do you call, like, I mean, in
If I want to share this particular template to another account, is it possible to do? I say no. Why?
yeah, so do the one account. Right?
The key pair will be different, right? Network parameters will be different. IDs will be different, right? AMI ID will be different. It is not same across all the accounts. Okay. So that's the reason why we cannot share this particular template. This particular template belongs to only this account.
Okay.
Your question is quite different from the quota limit what I'm asking. Sorry, what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I got it.
Okay, so if you want to see any quota limits related to the services, you can just use this service. Okay. AWS services, and you can select them and you can see the quota limits. No need to search for the documents here and there. Now, coming back to the point. Yeah. Now you can see one instance was launched from one template, another template version. Another instance was launched from another template version. Okay. Now the question is, can I delete a template without deleting the instances? These instances are created from template. Now, can I delete a template without deleting the instances?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why no? Any justification for your answer?
Template is
Already it is in use.
Okay. Yeah.
Template, it just create and will be passed, right? It will not attach it to the instance, right?
Template is just a document. It is not dependent on your instance. Instance is not dependent on this template. Once an instance got launched, there is no dependency on the template. So we can delete.
Oh.
You can just select that and we can delete our template. For example, I want to delete one template version, not the whole template. You can just select delete template version. Let us say I want to delete this one. Default one we can't delete. Okay, you just need to modify because a template should have at least one version. Understood, right? Why I'm not able to select two? It is a default and at least we need to have one version available. That's the reason I'm choosing one and delete. It got deleted. Now we don't have that version available here. But still, your instance is not affected. You can check this. So there is no dependency. Okay. Template instances doesn't have a dependency on the template. A simple answer for that. Now, I'm trying to delete the template as well. Confirmation delete. Once the instance got launched, these two are individual resources. I'm using that particular template for launching instance. That's it. Now I can select these two instances and select terminate instances. That's it. So this is a simple concept of understanding or utilizing this template concept whenever you whenever you want to launch an instance with the predefined values, which I no need to pass. We have to go for template. Obviously, in many conditions, we go for template.
But this will be only using for only one account, right?
So this particular template is utilized only in this account. If you want to create a template, if you want to utilize in another account, you have to create your own template. Let me show you one concept. Just select here. You can see I'm not able to see any template to share. Okay, for example, network subnets I can share. Okay, now, right now it is not displaying anything because we don't have any subnets. So if you want to share a resource to any other account, we can just do it from here. Okay.
So basically, you're saying resource can be shareable, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can. Shareable resources are there. If you want, let's say I created, for example, as a DevOps engineer, or since we are holding this particular account, we created some of the resources in this account. Now, this particular resource, I want to share it to my development environment. I don't want that to be created over there. I want to share it from here. We can do that.
Okay.
See, ultimate goal is, though they are two different accounts, they are contacting the same data center, right? You understood? Both are contacting the same data center, but I will share the resource so that that resource will be visible in your dashboard. You got it? The owner could be one, but the person who is utilizing can be another one.
Yeah, got it.
That's how it is. For that reason, you can go to Resource Access Manager, where you can share your resources. There is no additional cost for it because it is just sharing point. That's all. You can see, just use this particular service to select the resource, specify the permissions, and then share the resource. That's all. Yeah. Actually,
Yes, Sudham, I have one query.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, if like you are created instance from one account and we are using we are sharing the resource manager to another account, but like we can delete
No.
that
By
instance.
using resource manager,
Okay.
by using resource manager, we can share a resource from one account to another account.
Yeah, that is what. While sharing the account to while sharing the instance from one account to another using the resource, we can delete that instance from the another account, or we have
No,
any
it's not possible. So it all depends upon the permission what you have given to that particular shared resource.
Okay.
I'll give you read-only access, right? For you, you want to consume it. You don't want to control that.
Okay. Only admin can delete it, right? Okay.
Yes. For example, I'm the owner. I have admin access. Okay, it is given to me. I shared to you as a read-only. If I've given the permission like delete, you can delete technically. But I have not given you that permissions because you want to only utilize it. I'll give you read-only access.
Okay. Only we can view and see the resources and
See, I'm saying not every time it is only view. It all depends upon the permission that is given to you while it is shared.
Okay. I got it, sir.
Yeah. One day I will show you that as well, how to share that resource. I need another account for that. Yes, please. I see another hand raised.
So that permission will be handled by IAM, right?
By us. Who is sharing it?
Oh, okay.
Not him.
Okay.
The source who is giving that particular resource to the target. In the source side, we have to give the proper permissions, which account it is. Okay. What permissions, what actions he can perform on that resource. I can control that.
Okay, sure. Got it.
These are all only manual or in the eventually will automate this, right?
Everything. See, whatever the actions we are doing in AWS from login to logout, including that, can be handled by using Terraform.
Terraform?
Yes. We will be using Terraform later on sessions. How to create all the resource what we learned by using Terraform automation skill.
Okay.
So what are the infra? So let us say this is infra right now, AWS cloud for us. Our infrastructure is running on AWS cloud. Now we don't do any manual task. Either we can use CloudFormation template, which is AWS service for orchestrating the infra, or else I can use Terraform tool as well. So my Terraform will create this particular resources. I'll just tell my Terraform what resource it has to create. How to create it, Terraform will take care of it. I don't need to do it manually. In the organizations, we never do it manually. We handle only through either CloudFormation template or Terraform.
You will provide the configuration and then it will be
Yes.
Terraform.
So kind of a declarative approach. I'll tell this is what I want. Terraform will create it for me. It is called as declarative approach. Today I will wind up the session a little bit 10 minutes before. If you have any questions, we can just continue, or else we can wind up the session for today. There will be a final topic on EC2, only just instances, not the whole EC2 concept. We discussed only few parameters. What about this one? So tomorrow we'll cover this and we will see what is this all about. And then we have other topics as well, one by one, which we have to discuss, like load balancing, EBS, auto scaling, these concepts.